As Russian assaults continue on Kyiv, with dozens of drones being detected Monday evening, Christmas decorations are taken below ground.
The U.S. January 6th committee has recommended 4 criminal charges against Trump, including assisting or engaging in an insurrection.
World Cup champions Argentina return home to a hero's welcome as the government declares a bank holiday for the nation to celebrate.
Air raid alerts were issued across Kyiv and most of Ukraine on late Monday. Ukraine's capital was targeted by multiple drones in an attack just days after what Ukrainian officials described as one of Russia's biggest assaults on Kyiv since the beginning of the war. At least 24 Iranian-made drones were detected over the capital's airspace. It's no surprise that Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky says he's stepping up his call for more air defences from the West. In his nightly address, he says Ukraine needs more artillery, more guns, shells, modern tanks that have not yet been delivered, and a longer-range MLRS, modern and truly effective air defence. 100% air defence shield for Ukraine will be one of the most successful steps against Russian aggression, he says. While the war rages, Kharkiv's annual Christmas tree and festivities have been taken underground into the city's subway to shelter residents from Russian air attacks. The 50-metre-tall Christmas tree was lit up in a metro station just under the square where the tree would have otherwise been erected, and the city's children will be treated to daily theatrical performances and games throughout the holiday season.
The chair recognizes the gentleman from Maryland.
After 18 months of evidence and witness statements, a U.S. House committee says former President Donald Trump should face criminal charges for his role in the January 6th Capitol Hill riots.
Mr. Kinzinger?
Kinzinger, aye.
Every president in our history has defended this orderly transfer of authority, except one. January 6th, 2021 was the first time one American president refused his constitutional duty to transfer power peacefully to the next. No man who would behave that way at that moment in time can ever serve in any position of authority in our nation again. He is unfit for any office.
In the committee's eyes, Trump unlawfully conspired to overturn the 2020 election, going against the will of voters, and has recommended charging him for aiding an insurrection, one of 4 charges that suggest he is directly responsible for the deadly actions of his supporters. The criminal referrals are mostly symbolic, and it will now be up to the Justice Department to decide to prosecute him in what would be a historic move. For his part, Trump has consistently called the committee a witch hunt and declared last month that he's running for the 2024 presidential election. But even before this recommendation, things were not going his way. A New York jury has convicted 2 of Trump's companies of fraud, and the House's Way and Means Committee is set to vote on whether or not to release Trump's tax returns.
Former Hollywood film mogul Harvey Weinstein has been found guilty in a second rape trial. The Los Angeles court delivered guilty verdicts on 3 counts of sexual assault, including rape. The 70-year-old is already serving a 23-year jail term following a trial in New York. He now faces a maximum of 18 to 24 more years in prison. It's been 5 years since dozens of women spoke out against the producer and galvanized the Me Too movement. It's likely he'll spend the rest of his life in prison.
A desperate search is still underway in the Gulf of Thailand for 30 missing sailors from the country's Royal Navy. The operation has been going on since Sunday night. 75 crew members had already been rescued after the ship went down around midnight. High waves caused the crew to lose control of the vessel. One man was found unconscious in the water, his life jacket the only thing keeping him afloat. He has since regained consciousness and is recovering in the hospital. 2 military helicopters and several Navy vessels are frantically looking for his shipmates, still lost at sea. Terry Hall, the singer of the iconic British ska band The Specials, has died at the age of 63 after a short illness. The band, originally named Automatics, formed with a multiracial anti-racism objective and shot to fame in the 1970s. Several singles reached the top 10, including Gangsters, Too Much Too Young, and Ghost Town, a song about unemployment, economic decline, and urban violence. The cause of death has not been revealed, and the band has asked for respect for Hall's family.
This Middle Eastern specialist bookshop is set to close its doors at the end of the year after 44 years since it first opened in Westbourne Grove in London. Al-Serki Books says it stands for freedom of thought and expression, as well as cultural diversity. But after 2 years of COVID and now the energy crisis, it has to shut.
It was like family, because as Lebanese fleeing Lebanon, you know, we had no family in London. And this was our family. All the employees were like family. Some of the customers became like family. It was like a home from home, you know. So we're losing all this now.
The Arab language bookshop's name means water cellar, and customers say the store is a well-known landmark in the area and are shocked to see it go. However, the award-winning independent publishing house, Serki Books, will continue.
NHS nurses in the UK are on a second unprecedented strike, calling for a 5% raise above inflation. They say they have suffered a real-term pay cut of 20% since 2010, but the British government claims it cannot afford anything above a 4 to 5% rise. They are also calling for better working conditions, as nursing vacancies are at a record high. The strike is backed by the Royal College of Nursing, a first in its 106-year history. Ambulance workers are also set to strike on Wednesday.
The Bank of England has released new banknotes featuring the portrait of King Charles III. The 5, 10, 20 and 50 pound notes will start to enter circulation by mid-2024. The bank says they will only be printed to replace worn predecessors or to meet any overall increase in demand. New coins featuring the king's portrait have already been released to the public.
When they left Argentina, the nation's football team had high hopes and determination of becoming world champions again. And as they stepped off the plane on their return Tuesday morning, waving their trophy, it was a job well done. Lionel Messi led the team to a win against France in the final on Sunday after a penalty shootout at the Qatar World Cup. The squad will head to the obelisk in the centre of Buenos Aires to celebrate the world title with fans around noon. The Argentine government has declared Tuesday a bank holiday so that the entire country can express their deepest joy for the national team. Argentina beat France 4-2 on penalties after a 3-3 draw in a pulsating game that was labelled by many as one of the best finals in World Cup history. It's the third time the country has won the World Cup trophy, the last one being 36 years ago.
A hero's welcome in Paris after the heartbreak in Qatar. The French national team are back on home soil to the cheers and admiration of airport staff and the rest of the nation. Despite Argentina denying Les Bleus back-to-back World Cups. But this was a welcome worthy of them actually winning the prize. Even if they lost in the final, this supporter says, they still had an extraordinary performance.
I'm happy to say thank you to them for what they have done, to show that we are behind them despite the defeat. It brings the French people together, and it's nice to see them come here tonight.
When the players came out into the balcony of the prestigious Hotel de Crillon, the reception was one of genuine pride. The crowd got even louder when they saw Kylian Mbappe, whose thrilling hat-trick in Sunday's final gave France a fighting chance before heading to penalties.